Hey, Shalom. Shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the Washington, D.C. camp, Great Millstone here. Back for another video. First and foremost, call all Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushua, Ba'Hashem Krahakwadash. And of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. All right. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on highways and byways, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth, aided by the numerous amounts of videos that go out for everyone's edification if they so choose. And I say it like that because we realize that a lot of you are just watching for entertainment, which is only going to serve to bite you in the ass later. All right, because we're very serious in trying to get this information out to you, and you know, that's to your own detriment, to your own hurt. All right, if you do so. But for those who choose to listen, hey, shalom. All right. This is the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. However, nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so there we go. Now, oh my goodness. All right, so this again is Sabby Sab's website. She's out of Boston. This is the real reasons Trump kidnapped Maduro. Now, yeah, the U.S. is smelling this piss, so to speak. It, you know, Wisdom of Solomon, second chapter for sure. And also Daniel 7. All right. It leaves no doubt in who it's making reference to. All right. These people are the way they are because they were created this way. And we're talking about the nation of Edom. All right. Descendants of Jacob's brother Esau. This is who we're dealing with. Their pride knows no limits. But in any case, he told you what they did. And everyone's wondering, well, why didn't Maduro's military rush to aid him, rush to protect him? Well, people were looking at, well, maybe they were bribed. That's also possible. But there's also a more simple explanation, as you're going to find out. So let's go ahead and run this video. And get into it.
I want you to ask yourself again this question: who wins? Who wins with this situation? Donald Trump kidnapped Nicolas Maduro and his wife in the dead of night. But this isn't new. Let's do a flashback first before we get into the details. And then we're going to break this down. We're going to look at the drug claim. We're going to look at the Venezuelan refugees, which that has been announced newly. We're going to look at Israel. We're going to look at the money, and we're going to look at the public response. Right now, I'm here to tell you, this is not good for Donald Trump. People are not happy despite what you think you're seeing on social media. But let's go back. Haven't we seen this before? Shout out to Gen X Girl. Like I said, she has been on it. We've been here before, haven't we?
Yep, I remember
As president, I have no higher obligation than to safeguard the lives of American citizens. And that is why I directed our armed forces to protect the lives of American citizens in Panama and to bring General Noriega to justice in the United States.
Justice.
Good afternoon.
They always like saying that shit.
Yesterday,
Justice.
December the 13th, at around 8:30 p.m. Baghdad time, United States military forces captured Saddam Hussein alive. He was found near a farmhouse outside the city of Tikrit in a swift raid conducted with...
Let me pause it here because the thing I remember most about this one, where that scripture is, let's see if I can find it. Today a king, tomorrow, let's see, let me see where I think it is. Let's see. I know there's one. It's probably more than one, but the one I'm thinking about, I think, is here. Let's see. Here's one, Sirach 10 and 14. It says, the Most High hath cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. Okay. The Lord hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. Okay. It's not exactly what I was looking for. The Most High overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. Let's see. No, that's not what I was looking for. Let's see. Let's see. 21. The fear of the Most High goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. All right. And all these people he's going to mention, they had that reputation of being some honorary, even though by and large, the majority of these people may be Israelites. It says, except for Saddam, it says, whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is in the fear of the Lord. And of course, if they don't, all right, but none of these was the one I was looking for. Let's see. Let's see. I'll come back to it. Let's go ahead and roll the video.
Without casualties.
Wow. Huh. Unconfirmed. Yeah. Unconfirmed. Yeah.
Look at this proud bitch.
Unconfirmed reports about Gaddafi being captured. End of unconfirmed videos. Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Proud devils.
Mm-hmm. So we've been here before. Same playbook, different reason every now and then. But Brian Berlatek, journalist focused on Eurasia, he warned people about this multiple times. He actually warned people about it on my show. Brian Berlatek said, like I said before, neocon sock puppet Trump and his neocon line administration even won the election or took office. Nothing was going to change no matter who was elected, and all the neocon wars would advance as usual.
And that's the thing a lot of Jake failed to understand, especially these women were talking shit when Trump was elected as opposed to Harris. You think she would have been good for you? You think she would have done right by you? You're not paying attention to who and what she's married to? You know, a lot of the time I wish that she would have, just to shut those people up. But, you know, the thing is, regardless of who, which party, that's another thing. See, Jake is in that delusion. All right. Trapped in an illusion also that they've put out there. And Jake is just trapped. All right. And, you know, and that comes from not doing your due diligence and studying. All right. But in any case, it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people are, well, I don't know as to a lot, but enough people are waking up to, you know what, this is all bullshit. I'm talking about those that did believe in this wicked ass system. And you're seeing a lot of disgruntled people, which is going to give way to what we've always been telling you, a civil war is brewing. All right. Because certain people are not used to being treated like they are now. They're not used to suffering like they are now, because they looked at us in our lives as Jake. being on the bottom rung, and that was the way things were supposed to be. But now they're finding out that, hey, they don't matter either. All right, and a lot of them can't take it. All right, back to the video.
In fact, they accelerated. This should lay to rest any doubt regarding U.S. withdrawal from hegemony. These fantasies floating around out here, especially regarding Russia, Iran, and China, who the U.S. is already in the process of fighting either directly or by proxy, and whose dismemberment of Venezuela aims to further isolate and weaken.
Another thing I got to address real, and that's a good that she mentioned it that way, because a lot of people, and I think we put up that stat that showed that since America's founding, all right, and we're going from 1776, there's only been 20 something years of peace, because you've got to consider the proxy wars that they were behind, which people often don't recognize, and yeah, the sneaky shit. All right. That's a hell of a stat. And this is 250, July the 4th, be 250 years.
What Brian Berlatek revealed on this show was that the Brookings Institute had already explained years ago the foreign policy, the plan for foreign policy laid out over the next couple of years. And one of them was Venezuela. So what you see happening right now was already decided. When it comes to foreign policy, oftentimes this is the case. Now, let's go to what Donald Trump said about Venezuela and Maduro.
Yeah, what was that? Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had. They took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
I don't know how many times Donald Trump has made the statement that we want the oil, and still people continue to fall for the okie doke. So here's what happened, ladies and gents. People are asking, why didn't Maduro's military step in to protect him or save him?
Here we go. Listen to this.
Did you know that the U.S. government turned off the lights?
Simple as that.
And if they can turn off the lights in Venezuela, they can turn off the lights anywhere. They can turn off the lights right here. Everyone needs to remember this.
And I believe they're going to.
There is footage of this, of the lights going on.
Now, some will say, well, that's kind of underhanded. Hey, this is the art of war. All right, now what happens when, well, let's just go ahead and wait till he does what he does. Hold on.
Check this out.
Were you listening when Donald Trump said this?
Maduro, in the dead of night, it was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off.
He just told you.
Due to a certain expertise that we have.
It sounds like what he's saying is the United States has the capability of turning off the lights for 1.9 million people in a large Latin American country like that. And of course, I wouldn't believe it if there wasn't a video.
Yeah, here we go.
Después van hacia arriba. ¿Sí? Sí, es por parte de su madre o parte.
And I have to pause it here because after that, we can't show explosions and stuff on here. But this streamer caught the Venezuela.
Causes total confusion. Like, what the fuck? And your mind just roams. Oh man, what could be? In the meantime, they're making moves before you even realize what's going on.
Venezuela strikes live on stream. So again, what it said here, it shows you that the US government turned off the lights in Caracas. I think a lot of times people are underestimating the type of technology that we have in this country, military technology. If they can turn off the lights in Venezuela, they can turn off the lights anywhere, even here. So they turned off the lights. So for people asking why didn't Maduro's military come in and help him, complete blackout. Everything went out. Now imagine walking down the street and that happens, right? Before they captured him, do you know who he met with?
Check this out.
Maduro met with a Chinese special envoy.
Uh-huh.
See, these are the things people need to see. This was his last public appearance. He was meeting with China.
Nuestro cariño y admiración. Cariño.
See, what you've got to understand, these motherfuckers have spies everywhere. This is on top of their technology that they have. All right. You think they wanted whatever deal that they were trying to finalize or whatever, you think they wanted that to go through? All right. In our own backyard as they look at it? No.
Now remember, Venezuela was interested in becoming a part of BRICS. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they're trying to build a multipolar world. And they have entertained this multiple times about moving away from the US dollar. They've entertained that as well. So I just found it interesting that the moment they decided to kidnap, and I say kidnap, not capture. Let's go to part 2, Eric. They decided to kidnap Maduro. It was right after he met with China.
Uh-huh.
They kidnapped him. Let's show the pictures here. I want you to see the picture. So first of all, they blocked off his sight. They blocked off his sound. I don't even think that's legal. I don't think it's legal to block off someone's senses when they're being transported, especially after you've kidnapped them. There's Maduro right there. And then here's another one here. Okay. So that was him.
See, I can't wait.
On board the USS Iwo Jima.
Let's get this scripture. I can't wait. Hold on.
Right there.
Look at that. Sensory deprivation. Let's see. That's a form of torture. Let's see. I almost lost my. This is what I can't wait. Everybody's, yeah. No. I want to see you motherfuckers. All right. This is Psalms 149:7. This is what I want to see and change. All right. This says to execute vengeance upon the heathen, which these Edomites, these self-professed white people are, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. This is what I want to see. All right. To execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, which are only Israelites. Praise ye the Most High Yahweh. This is what I hope to live to see. All right. Along with Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 7. You know, if there be 9 things that, and it says the last part of that, to see the downfall of thine enemy. Yeah. This is what I want to see.
There. Now, the reason why I showed you those videos at the very beginning, just to remind you that this has been done through multiple presidential terms, whether it was Gaddafi under Obama, whether it was Saddam Hussein under George W. Bush. Doesn't matter what the party is that's in the White House when it comes to imperialism abroad and when it comes to overthrowing governments. Now, I mention those because I want to remind you what happened to those countries when they overthrew their leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because for all the people saying this is a win for Venezuela, I don't think so. Nothing good can come from this. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard had been warning about this for years until she decided to get paid. Now you don't hear Tulsi Gabbard saying anything. She is silent as hell since Maduro was kidnapped. There's another video that was released here. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro tells reporters good night and Happy New Year. This one came through pretty late last night here.
Oh yeah, all the pictures. Listen to this show.
Good night.
Yeah, okay. I can't wait until that's you, you motherfuckers.
Now, people saw this and they said, well, he doesn't look upset or anything like that. And I said, well, you know, there could be some type of deal that they try to make. But at the end of the day, remember, Nicolas Maduro, before he was captured, he said that he was willing to talk, to sit down and talk. But Trump was like, nah.
Yeah.
We're going to go in gangster style.
Keep that same energy.
And notice, just like that, people stopped talking about the Epstein files.
Exactly.
Just like that. And what's scary about this is Donald Trump is saying we can do this everywhere. No one can stop us. His words, not mine.
But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting some.
That's something to think about, because I was thinking, well, you know, if they could do that and how they, you know, invaded and snatched this guy. Now, remember, Cuba has had nukes since the early 60s. So will that work there? Being that that's the only one that I'm aware of that has nuclear capability so close. So you know that's been on their mind for the longest. Well, Cuba's the only real physical threat. All right. And, you know, they've been since, you know, for the longest time they've been mad at Cuba because, you know, a girl just died not too long ago, and that's where she went, fled to, what was it, Tupac's, what is it, his godmother, or, what was her name, damn it, what was her name, let's see, let's see. You know, that was a large stick in their craw. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I didn't want to bring this guy up, but I can't think of her name. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Asada. All right. I said his step aunt. All right. Asada Shakur. Let's see. So I had to take a long way in trying to get that. But, oh, come on. Here it is. Yeah, this is her. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, she this past September 25th, she passed away. She fled, it says here, in 1977, she was convicted of the first-degree murder of a New Jersey state trooper, all right, during a shootout on a Jersey Turnpike in 73. She escaped from prison in 79 and was wanted by the FBI with a $1 million reward for information leading to her capture. And all that time, they couldn't get her. And an additional $1 million reward offered by the New Jersey Attorney General. She was never caught and remained a fugitive for 45 years. Give her a hand. All right. And that's where she passed away this past, like 3 months ago. A little over 3 months ago now. All right. So let's go back.
Somebody else take over.
Oh, and that scripture, I was right there. I knew, I don't know, I was all over the place. But let's go back to Sirach. These people that don't, have the Lord, in their minds. It says, Sirach 10:10, the physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. All right. So you get caught up in the wealth and the power, all right, that comes with it. And they tend to forget the Most High, and look what happens. All right. Damn.
Where we have to do it again. We can do it again too. Nobody can stop us.
Nobody can stop us. Listen to the hubris of these fucking Edomites. Let's look that word up for those of you that don't know it. It just oozes from them, And I had quoted earlier about Daniel 7. I apologize. I've got a keeps going in and out. I got a weak signal here. Let's see. And move things around here. Hold on. Come on. That should help a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's go back. Here it is. Hubris, overbearing pride or presumption, arrogance, excessive pride. All right, there you go. And what does that say in the scriptures? Let's get that real quick before I move on. Wasn't that who it was talking about here? This is Daniel 7. All right, it says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. There you go. All right. Back to the video.
When I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on, and everybody dying, and it's like it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible.
So there is the president of the United States saying we can do this anywhere and no one can stop us. By the way, Donald Trump has already announced we're going to look at Cuba. There's something that these countries also have in common. We'll get into that as well. But let's start with the drug claim.
Which is not an indictment.
Donald Trump and his minions said that Nicolas Maduro, that they were trafficking fentanyl. Fentanyl is not even produced in Venezuela. But you don't have to believe me. Just look at what Wallace says. Drug traffickers in South America do not produce or traffic fentanyl.
Uh-huh.
Let's go on here. It says, especially in Northwest, 3,000 miles from Venezuela, as the only significant source of illicit fentanyl and fentanyl analogs, significantly affecting the United States during the preceding calendar year. The analysis concluded on September 3rd, 2025. There is no proof that fentanyl is manufactured or trafficked from Venezuela or anywhere else in South America.
There you go.
I have been saying this over and over again. Fentanyl is not produced in South America. Yet Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi and all of them said it, so it must be true, according to their supporters.
Dumb, stupid,
quick Google search and you can find
Americans this. Fall for it every time.
Now people bring up cocaine. Now, why were they bringing up cocaine? Because now all of a sudden, it's not fentanyl that is in the indictment report.
So you know who
this
that
was
is.
Released earlier Sunday morning.
Colombia.
The U.S. indictment of Maduro cites cocaine smuggling, trade in which Venezuela's role is believed to be modest. So it went from fentanyl to cocaine. Experts have said that Venezuela is not a major producer, not a major drug producer, but rather a minor cocaine transit country, with most of the cocaine flowing through headed to Europe.
Okay.
Right here.
But who has been known
plain as day
to be a major producer?
Now, why is this important? Because Nicolas Maduro will stand trial here in the United States, and the trial, again, according to the indictment, which has flipped from fentanyl to cocaine, because people went through the indictment and saw that fentanyl is not there. Exactly. It's cocaine that's there. So it's now flipped to cocaine. The trial that is going to take place here, the U.S. government basically has to prove that Nicolas Maduro was trafficking cocaine to the United States. But all the other reports don't show that that is the case. That there was very little cocaine coming from Venezuela, and what was coming from it, the majority was going to Europe. So for all the people who are pushing back and saying, no, he's right to go take him down because of the drugs. Well, again, that will be something that the U.S. government will have to prove in court.
Have to prove.
Now, I have very little faith in our justice system, so I think if they want something to stick, they'll find a way to make it stick.
And there you go. It's a lose-lose.
But if they cannot and are not willing to go that far, the trial will happen. They'll have no evidence, no proof. Maduro will be acquitted. He'll make some type of deal or agreement with Donald Trump and the administration. And the U.S. government will have a leader installed in Venezuela that they want. And that'll be the end of that.
All those resources. The amount.
The drug claim.
Pause it right here.
Also takes me back to Manuel
That's going to be my next
Noriega.
video. Never mind.
There are similarities between the two, for those who are not aware. Before Maduro, there was Noriega. The Venezuelan leader is now in U.S. custody. Decades earlier, the U.S. deposed the strongman who led Panama. Let's get into just a little bit of this here. I'm going to make this
he was
larger for the people in the back, as usual.
See, here we go. That's another video. The United States and its tools, what ultimately happens to its tools. They are broken. And usually it's publicly like this. You know, taking the walk of shame. Yeah, that's why I brought out Psalms 149, 5, 6, and 7, because I want to see them make that perp walk. All right. I want to see them.
Let's get into Manuel Noriega here, just to show you a little bit striking resemblance here. That episode holds some striking parallels to the capture of Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela on Saturday, to the capture of Manuel Noriega, with some major differences. George H.W. Bush sent U.S. troops into Panama with the goal of capturing Noriega, who had been the country's military dictator for about 6 years. Noriega went into hiding in the Vatican's embassy in Panama City, where he was eventually captured, taken to the U.S., tried, and imprisoned. Noriega, like Maduro, had been indicted on federal drug trafficking charges. He was accused by the U.S. officials at the time of taking millions of dollars in bribes from drug traffickers and turning Panama into a capital of international cocaine smuggling. Months before both leaders were captured, the U.S. built up its military presence around their countries. Sound familiar? In Panama, President Bush sent nearly 2,000 soldiers and Marines to reinforce the 10,300 service members already there. The troops also began conducting military exercises, but many saw it as an attempt to overthrow Noriega. As part of the pressure campaign on Venezuela, Trump has been building up forces in the Caribbean for months and authorizing strikes on boats that the administration have said are run by drug traffickers. Now, what is interesting about Noriega, the two Latin American leaders, however, had very different responses to U.S. pressure campaigns. So again, Noriega, as we said, he went into hiding. He fled with his mistress in an unmarked Hyundai and went into hiding, briefly emerging at a Dairy Queen before taking refuge at the embassy of Holy See. He was captured after a stand.
Uh-oh. That's what got him caught up. Dairy Queen. Now we know. That's my first time hearing that part. Okay.
Standoff that went on for days with the U.S. troops. They used, and this is important, they used speakers to blast heavy metal from bands like Black Sabbath and Guns N' Roses until he surrendered. So that's this type of psychological torture. Noriega, remember, he was basically useful to the U.S. government until he wasn't. Noriega was one of the ones that went to the School of Americas. Let me check that real quick. Just make sure I got the name right. I believe it's the School of Americas.
In the power seat, this is what I meant.
Yeah, the School of Americas. So what was interesting about this school, this is the school which says he went to the School of Americas for training. At the school, Noriega participated in courses on infantry operations, counterintelligence, intelligence, and jungle warfare. He also took a course in psychological operations at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So
the irony is that's what they used to get him up out that church with that loud ass fucking rock music.
Noriega was useful to the U.S. until he wasn't.
Yep.
This is something people need to remember. Also, don't forget that the School of Americas was one that was caught up in several abuses. Remember they talked about before how they were abusing people at the School of Americas? And a lot of people point to it as a CIA front. So these are things that people need to understand. So I thought it's important to show that in this part here where Mr. Trump said in an interview on Fox that Mr. Maduro wanted to negotiate in the final days before U.S. forces, I'm going to say, kidnapped him, and Trump rejected it. I didn't want to negotiate. I said, nope, we got to do it. So just a reminder there, folks. Like I said, we have been here.
I wonder why. Now, was this his decision or was it the little hats? My bet is on the little hats. All right. Like I said, he knoweth he hath but a short time. All right. So the next video is going to go into, because she doesn't hear, but going into the amount of resources that little nation has.
Before. And so now Rodriguez is now installed basically as the president, at least for now. She's the leader in charge in Venezuela. And I want you to hear what she says here again. She was the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez. She's been sworn in as the president. Listen to what she said.
A vice president who has just been sworn in as the president of Venezuela. Let's listen in to this media conference.
This means and what
our energy resources mean. So this National Defense Council is hereby activated, commissioned, and we are awaiting the constitutional chamber of the Supreme Court. Over the next hours, we will hear what the verdict is. We will wait to see what happens with the Supreme Leader, President Maduro, and all of this is going to be discussed as of this point in time. For our Venezuela, our people here, we have a clear government, and I repeat once and again, based on the words of the president, I reflect them right here. We are willing to respect under the framework of international law and the rules of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. It's the only thing
that's just it. America doesn't respect that shit. They just showed you that. Wow.
Will be acceptable for us for any engagement and relationship after there has been an assault and aggressive attacks militarily on our nation and capital. And
these are the motherfuckers that I believe wrote the framework, all right, for the UN, which they just broke. Never trust
the nation of our father, the liberator, Simon Bolivar. We will find our path forward in peace and tranquility. Those who have resorted to the use of force, those who must resort to international legality, don't have reason on their side. We have reason on our side, and we have the moral empowerment to be able to defend peacefully and tranquility for the future of.
It's like, I wish before this video I had thought to bring it up, but I was watching ABC yesterday. They did he interviewed Marco Rubio, and he asked him, what's the legality here for what you did? And he couldn't answer. He went and gave some long-winded ass, went way out left field type of fucking answer and shit, and Stephanopoulos just came right back. He said, no, I ask you, all right, what's the legal? Well, and they still wouldn't answer. He talking about some courts and, oh, man, it just goes to show you, In fact, let me get this scripture here, because like they've done throughout their whole history, it comes down to this. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2. All right. And 11, let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. It's as simple as that. From the Greeks, the same people, when they were the Greeks, the Romans, and now again, as when they revived the Roman Empire, it's the same people. And that is to include the Israelis, because all that is Edomite/white supremacy with a yarmulke on it. They're the same fucking people.
Of the people, the right to peace for the Venezuelan people, and the right to a social happiness that we continue galloping forward with our liberator together. We're going to continue to gallop forward in this campaign. We will continue galloping forward.
Yeah, the translator is not the best, okay?
No.
But long story short, what Rodriguez is saying there is that they're not just going to fold over to the United States government. Is basically, what she is saying. Now, let's go on a little bit more here. Let's get into the Maria issue. Now, one of the people who has been begging Donald Trump to invade her country was Maria Corina Machado.
Here, yeah.
She was the one that was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize recently, and I told you guys, what a joke. This is bullshit. She, in particular, wanted to sell off the oil, the gas, the gold, and wanted to work with Israel. She's a proud
There you go.
Zionist.
What did I just say?
Listen, just a reminder what she
Who
said.
ultimately is behind this? And for all we know, she may be one of them. 1.7.
because I want to show you what Trump is saying about her now. This is very important with one of the claims that they have against Maduro.
And this is amazing, super exciting for me. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. I am talking about a $1.7 trillion opportunity, not only in oil and gas, which is huge. And
for those of you that want to know why I just said what I said, it's some sickening shit, because you're seeing a repeat of what's been happening since 1492. All right. Right in your fucking faces. It never stopped. The transference of wealth.
And you know that the opportunities, because we will open all upstream, middle stream, downstream to all companies, but also in mining, in gold, in infrastructure, power. We have our grid right now as a 17 gigawatt opportunity of energy potential that needs to be rehabbed. Certainly for technology and AI and tourism. You know, Venezuela has 2,800 kilometers of pristine Caribbean coastline ready to be developed. So this is going to be huge. We will bring rule of law. We will open markets. We will have security for foreign investment and a transparent, massive privatization program that is waiting for you.
So that's Maria there, and that's really interesting because you're going to see what Trump is saying about her now. I think she really thought that she was going to be brought into power. Now you have to remember, Maria, her candidate was Edmundo Gonzalez, who ran against Maduro in the most recent election. He is the one that Maria and others have said was the truthful winner, and that Maduro stole it, etc. That's important. It's important that you hold on to that the election was stolen, that's the claim, and that Maduro is not the rightful president for that country, that it was supposed to be Edmundo Gonzalez. The reason why I say it's important for you to hold on to that is because of what Donald Trump said here recently. When he was asked about her after he kidnapped Maduro, he was questioned about Maria being the leader in the country, since again, she was along with Edmundo, and they said that Maduro stole the election. Listen to this response.
Aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President, Mr. President, on Monday.
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have support within, or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Aware of the location of opposition leader.
That part is important, because if Maria.
Remember what I said about the tools? The tools.
And her candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, if they were the ones that the people actually wanted, if they were the ones that truthfully won, why does she not have the popularity? Which is what Donald Trump just said. Mm-hmm. You see how you catch people in their own lies? If that's who the people truly wanted, why does she not have the popularity? Something to think about, ladies and gents. But that was who they wanted. They wanted Edmundo to win. They wanted someone that was going to benefit American and Israeli interests. And that brings me to this question, the refugees. People are asking, well, what does that mean for Venezuelans, like here in the United States? Like, what does that mean for the Venezuelan people? And this is where some people are going to get mad. Some of the Trump supporters are already like lashing out on Twitter. They're pissed because of what DHS just said about what is going to happen to Venezuelans under that TPS, that temporary status. Listen to this.
Venezuela today is more free than it was yesterday, and it's going to continue to be that way as long as President Trump is in the White House and is making sure that he's protecting the interests of the American people, because that ripple effect will continue to bring that kind of liberty to Venezuela as well. These programs, we're bringing integrity back to them. The decisions are made in conjunction with the State Department, with the White House, and then we at the Homeland Security implement them and make sure that they are followed through. So every individual that was under TPS has the opportunity to apply for refugee status, and that evaluation will look forward, but we need to make sure that our programs actually mean something and that we're following the law. And that's how that decision with TPS was made.
So all this dog killer lady just said that those individuals under TPS status now will have the opportunity to get the refugee status.
So what was all this?
Did I hear that correctly? Okay, so here's the problem. This is how Donald Trump is playing the hell out of people. Okay, you ran on closing the borders and stopping immigration, all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to deport all these people and get these people out of here.
Yep.
And when I tell you, when you look at the numbers, Donald Trump has had controversial deportations, but the numbers show he has still not deported more people than previous administrations. So now they're telling you that the same people that they're supposedly doing mass deportations with, they're now giving them the opportunity to have the refugee status. This is how people get played.
Dumb, stupid Americans.
People are mad. People are very mad. I saw a number of people reposting this, like, what the hell is wrong with her? The White House is trying to say, no, that's not what she said. This is exactly what she said.
Civil war.
Too soon?
Civil war, civil war, civil war.
Let's move to the Israel part. How much does Israel play a part in this? Well, just listen to what Netanyahu said before they kidnapped Maduro.
Of course, the boss.
We've had an unbelievable success, and by degrading Iran, which was a first-rate power, now it's a second-rate or third-rate power. They were throwing their weight all over the place, exporting terrorism, not only to every part of the Middle East, but to Venezuela. They're in cahoots with the Maduro regime, they're exporting terrorism to America.
You're watching the comments.
To the American hemisphere. And then they want these Hezbollah and Hamas to get their guys into the United States. So Hamas and Iran's and its proxies are a threat not only to us, but to Israel, all America's allies in the Middle East, and to America.
She looking at
and
like,
to America.
Piece of shit.
Netanyahu said this right before Nicolas Maduro was kidnapped. So here we go again with Israel saying, well, you got to go into Venezuela and go after them because, they're working with Iran and Hezbollah has made its way into Venezuela. This is the same guy that told you had to go into Iraq and you got to take them down because they're a threat to Israel and they're a threat to America. This guy and his government has been walking into Congress, has been walking in to meet with different presidents, regardless of political party, for years, telling them who you need to have wars with. And Iran is one of the countries that is on that list. So let me tell you something else now. Iran is going to strike, Israel is going to strike Iran again sometime this year. They're going to strike them again. And the same thing that you just saw happen in Venezuela, they are going to use this to go after all these countries that will not bend the knee to Israel.
Yep. And we keep, again, here goes this scripture. All right. Great millstone is always, hey, at some point, a lot of you just lost cause, this is Jeremiah 49. All right. And 20, it says, therefore hear the counsel of the Most High Yahweh, that he hath taken against Edom, your self-professed white people. In particular, you're talking about the small hats, the ones in the land of Israel now, the Israelis, and that asshole we just saw on screen there, Netanyahu. All right. and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. All right. They've got the United States wrapped around their finger. That's why I said, this is the boss. Whenever he comes here, and she made, adding to my point, all right, they go to Congress, rah, 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 you need to do this, you need to, and they fucking do it. Because our enemies should be your enemies. You want to know where all that money is going? Why they're living, they complain about socialism over here, but your money is going over there so they can enjoy socialism. Dumb, stupid, ignorant Americans.
And the way the U.S. is using this, if they're not bending the knee to Israel, then they're not bending the knee to the United States or to the West in general. This guy and his "you need to go to war" rhetoric.
Oh, and just so you know, for you people that still, for some reason, just can't, well, I know the reason, but you cognitive dissonance or whatever. They're going to do away with the First Amendment here. Because what they're trying to do is anything they're trying to, what's that fancy word? Let me see if I want to use it correctly. Hold on. Let's see. I still got a connection. Hold on. Yeah, weak. I'm just waiting for this to come up. Hold on. Come on here. Okay. Let's see. That should be it. Slocky. There we go. Okay. All right. To conflate, to bring together, meld or fuse. And what they're trying to do, like I just said, whenever you criticize what they're doing, like genocide, all right, they're trying to associate that or make that the same as being anti-Semitic. Yeah. They're over here lobbying for that as I speak, making this video. Yeah. In other words, what's been going on in Europe for decades now, you criticize, you Holocaust, you're accused of being a Holocaust denier. All right, you get fined, you go to prison, or both. That's what they're trying to get here. And you best believe these sellouts that you have, your politicians here, because they're all on the take. They've got them on video doing some wicked ass shit. So more than likely, yeah, they're going to do it. That's how these Mossad and these wicked ass Israelis, that's how they work. So this place has been compromised for decades. This is what Kennedy, as it turns out, was trying to prevent. All right. that powerful lobby that these motherfuckers, this APAC and there's a couple of others. All right, but the one most well known is APAC. They are actively, all right, active participants in our politics, a foreign entity, but all you hear is Russia and China, all right, as a way to deflect. No, it's been these motherfuckers all along. All right, let's get a little bit more here and then I'll shut it down.
Rick, over the years has caused more deaths, and that doesn't just include those who have been killed in the Middle East, but I'm talking about American soldiers who were killed as well.
Because all wars are bankers' wars. And who are the elite bankers? So-called Jews. Period. The top families on this earth are issues. They make the money.
Was just here at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. He celebrated New Year's Eve with Donald Trump. You wonder where Iraq came from? He was telling the U.S. that for years, you need to go into Iraq. So when people say, well, everything can't be because of Israel and listen to this. Listen to this. They're putting it out there in the open. One thing I will say about the Trump administration is they're not covert, they're overt. So it's all out there. You have no excuse to say, well, I don't know about that. Said it right here. Listen to what the Fox News pundit says.
Venezuela has become a hotbed for every adversary of the United States to operate in the Western Hemisphere. Hezbollah has operations. The terrorist group Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, has operations that have been widely reported to be based in Venezuela. Iran is operating in Venezuela. Russia, China. It has become sort of the satellite state for the countries who we consider our adversaries and who are bent on trying to do everything they can to destabilize and undermine the West. So Venezuela has become
all for Israel. All for Israel. Again, they're putting it out there in the open. We have another one here, of course, from the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee himself, puts it out in the open.
America. It is not just a threat in the Western Hemisphere. It is a threat to the Middle East. So for the president to go after Venezuela not only deals with narco-terrorism and the many deaths of Americans who are killed by the poison of drugs, it is going to make life for those of us living in the Middle East much better, much safer.
And I have to stop it there because we can't show like explosions and stuff. But there's Mike Huckabee letting you know right there, this is going to be so much better for Israel. Every war, I look back on it, every war I feel like we've been involved in has been because of them.
Yes. But see, here's the thing. They are agents because whether you believe that they believe wholeheartedly that those people are the people, all right, the actual Israelites, you know, with all the information that's out there, you know, you have to be kind of, you know, but you got those types. But, all right, this is why Wisdom of Solomon 5 is going to be so very, very important, all right, and crucial, because these people are going to get a huge wake-up call, all right. Clearly they're not doing what we're doing as the scriptures or as the prophecies say what would happen, all right, when the true Israelites wake up as to who they really are, all right, because that's the thing about Christianity. They're not big in prophecy. I wonder why. This is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness, which we are, before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." And you're seeing an example of that with how everything is being taken down or taken out, all right, in the history books on purpose. Because why? All right, as it says in Habakkuk 2:16, all right, there's shameful spewing, all right, on their, accomplishments. So I'm paraphrasing. All right. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation is so far beyond all that they look for. All right. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, "This was he whom we said sometimes in derision in a proverb." Whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, all right, and his end to be without honor. Because, you know how these people look at us, like, what are you doing on our planet? That type of thing. They have utter contempt for Jake. And they show you this every day. All right, a little bit more.
And it doesn't necessarily even have to be in the Middle East. I'm looking back at all of these things. We are turning pages. If we had a photo album. And for the people who are just, and this is the other thing I said, like, everybody should be angry. Everybody should be angry, should be livid. No one should celebrate. Everyone should be furious. Maduro stood with the Palestinian people.
Vas a defender Palestina, presidente. Palestina. Viva Palestina libre.
And that's something else.
These are the people they go after. They go after the ones that are pro-Gaza, pro-Palestine, the ones who are not willing to bend the knee to Israel in their Zionist genocidal regime. Don't let them sit up there and tell you this is about drugs. Donald Trump just pardoned Juan Hernandez, who trafficked cocaine into the United States for years. So don't come up here and tell me this is about no damn drugs.
Exactly.
Get out of here. Don't believe it. Don't allow yourself to be fooled. Let's go to the next part, Eric. The Israel component. How many of these wars have they been behind? How many? Look at all the people who died in Iraq. All the people who died in the Iraq War. Afghanistan. All these wars.
He's a bloody man.
Maduro tried to warn you. He tried to tell us ahead of time. He said they were waiting.
Ya se está esperando el arranque de lo que pudiera ser una guerra de mayor dimensión, que supere a la de Ucrania y que supere a la guerra, al genocidio de Gaza, porque estamos hablando de potentes unidades militares de el Líbano.
Units from Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, among others. Listen.
De Yemen, de Irak, de Irán, entre otras. Así que Netanyahu está buscando.
Netanyahu is seeking to set the entire Middle East on fire, he says.
Incendiar todo el Medio Oriente con una guerra que uno sabe cómo puede empezar.
With a war that no one knows it may begin, but one does not know the ramifications.
Pero uno sabe las derivaciones y el impacto que va a tener en medio de una economía estadounidense.
In the midst of a U.S. and Western economy in recession.
Occidental en recesión. En medio de una crisis económica de lo que fueron los factores principales de la economía mundial.
Economic crisis were the main drivers of the world economy for decades.
Durante décadas. Esa es la verdad. Por eso tenemos que defender.
He goes on to say we have to defend Venezuela's independence.
La independencia de Venezuela, la paz de Venezuela, nuestro proyecto nacionalista bolivariano propio. Por eso tenemos que defender que Venezuela no caiga en las manos del sionismo.
He said we have to defend Venezuela from falling to the hands of Zionism. And if people don't sit back and get what this is really all about, I don't know what else to tell you at this point. These are the people that they're going after. He said Zionism wants to get its hands on Venezuela. He knew it. He knew that it was coming. And they come up with different reasons, of course. It's a cancer spreading. Now, this makes sense to me when we look at the Israel factor with Maduro's kidnapping. They've almost captured all of South America. What you have left now, you see Brazil. Guyana is very smaller up there. Here's Venezuela right there. They're going to come for Brazil too at some point. This is not over. That's the thing. Like, none of these countries are safe. So do you see how Israel has planted its flag all along the coast? And now they're going to come after Venezuela because they sit on all that oil. We'll get to that. And then Brazil is going to be the big golden nugget. But they're going to get all of this. That's what they want to do. This is the problem. And essentially, it's not just Zionism, it's colonialism.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, because they're all the same people.
So colonialism never ended. It just shifted to Israel. And as much as people say it's the small, tiny little state that wants to expand. If it's one thing that history has taught us, it is colonialism expands.
And even she doesn't appreciate the true ramifications of what's going on here. All right. I can see that. I have seen that for a while. You know, she's good at getting certain information out. But the spiritual component is missing here. The Holy Spirit, that is. All right. And you have to realize with whatever information that we use from certain individuals, you have to keep that in the back of your mind. All right. But that's as far as I'm going to go with this. The point has been made, you know, as to what I wanted to do, the points I wanted to get out there. And it's nothing that Great Millstone has not told you for, you know, one of these prophecies, you know, first and foremost, that we're relaying to you. All right. This is what's going on, has been going on. All right. And this is what we're called to do, is to being those watchmen on the tower. All right. Telling you what's going down. All right, it's up to you whether you choose to, you know, adhere to it or disregard it. All right, but we're doing what we were called to do per Ezekiel's 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter. All right. So with that, I hope whoever has viewed this has been edified. All right. Again, this is from Sabby Sab's site. The real reason Trump kidnapped Maduro. And it's a little bit more to it than that. We're going to go into detail on my next video. All right, because like you saw on that map that she's got up there in the insert, or the inlay rather, and it's got, look at there, the whole western part of South America there. Look at that. All the way down, especially Argentina. All right, Chile, oh my goodness. These are the moves that they were making. This is why they did not want China, whatever was in the works, they did not want that to go down. All right. And people are saying, well, why didn't China or Russia do anything? All right. You got to understand, this is chess, and the logistics of this would have been a total nightmare, whichever one. All right. They're not going to do anything to, I guess the way to put it is it's not a major interest to them. And again, the logistics aspect of it is just a piece of that. Because how are they going to, if they engage in a conflict, again, a logistics nightmare. All right. So it's a lot of you have to consider. All right. And again, I hope whoever views this has been edified, and I'm going to leave it at that. And just, oh man, the times that we're in. And again, another one of these years, Everything kicked off at the beginning of the year. All right. Wow. So with that, to the next video. Hey, Shalom.